What's up, everyone? Back with another edition of, I don't even really know what to call it. It's not a kicking it courtside. It's not a GASO cast. It's just my day 2 recap of the Cowtown tip-off that I start every high school season out at North Crowley. Great event. Always grateful to be invited to that. And the first thing I'll say is that I'm not quite in event coverage shape, so I showed up day 2 a little bit late. So I want to give a shout out to a couple players and teams, South Grand Prairie, Mansfield, Timberview. I saw Cameron Carroll's back on the court. That's great for that South Grand Prairie team. And then Caleb Richard, his name's been trending in their first 2 games. I'm excited to see both of those teams as the season progresses. But when I did get there, I walk in, McKinney playing Haltom City. I look on the scoreboard and Malik Archie's going crazy. Just absolutely crazy. I think he had 16 points when I walked in. I started filming, he finished with 31. That's a bad dude, getting anywhere he wants. And the one thing I'll say, if anybody, water cooler talk, barbershop talk, if anybody asks who's the best shooting team in the state, I'm going to say McKinney, because they fired off 16 threes, and they just had it going on all cylinders in a big-time win over Haltom City. Wyatt Seal made some great passes out of the zone offense, knocked down some threes. He's starting to figure it out. And then on Haltom City side, Baron Smith was a force down low, especially in the second half. So I know with Haltom City losing that game, they saw some bright spots with Baron that they're going to kind of go to throughout the season. Next game, Denton Geyer versus Byron Nelson. Braden Allward from Byron Nelson got right to it really quick. 11 points, I think, in the first quarter. He's just a nightmare to guard. He's all over the court, does whatever it takes. Soft touch in the mid-range, finishes well in the post. Just everything you want in a prospect. And he had it really going for Byron Nelson. And for majority of this game, you look at the matchup and I'm like, all right, Byron Nelson's probably going to win this. But right when you say that fourth quarter comes around and Mason White and Silas Rodriguez of Denton Geyer make the plays necessary to complete a big-time comeback for that Denton Geyer program. Shout out to those two. We both know they can score, but they're able to get to the line, get into the bonus, and knock down some big-time free throws when it mattered. So big-time win for Denton Geyer, but both Geyer and Byron Nelson were 2 teams I was very impressed with. Keller versus Prestonwood was the next matchup that I saw. Mind you, this is my 3rd game now, so I'm running on fumes. Shout out to the hospitality room for keeping me alive. But yeah, man, we've talked about it all summer and then all fall. Steven Ramirez of Keller just continues to show why he's a dude. Elevate time the jump shot. You're not going to box him out. Just all the plays possible. Oh, man. Love this kid to death. Cooper Guerrera knocking down shots. That whole Keller team is just absolutely just in sync and in rhythm. They all shoot. If you're not paying attention to a roster in front, you're like, wait, is that the same guy that just made that 3? Or is that the same guy that made that play? But yeah, Brooks Barr, I miss you. I know the whole state misses you. You're always a must watch, so I'm excited for you to get back in the court when you can. But while you've been off the court, Keller's been doing some things. And on that Prestonwood side, Tyler Murphy, man, he's a bucket. Continues to get what he wants in ISO. Just a real-time gamer for Coach Clarkson, that Prestonwood team. I know they came up short, but they have a lot of pieces to work with. And next gen Marcus Spear, Swagoo's son. Shout out Swagoo was there in the building cheering his son on. 2027, 6'5", one of those next gen prospects that looks the part and is going to continue to get better and better. And then before I say this is my last game, so I did leave before Lake Highlands and North Crawley started. My dog right behind me was chilling at home. Needed to get back. I saw North Crowley the night before, and I'll see Lake Highlands this season. So didn't want to act like I was dipping out, but the last game I did stay for was probably the best game of the weekend and went pound for pound with some of the other big time games around the state. I know that Katy Seven Lakes and San Antonio Brennan game was a doozy, but that Allen Plano East matchup, you're sitting there in the first quarter and you're like, all right, I know both of these teams want to establish a specific culture and a specific way to play, but how do you keep this up for 32 minutes? But they did. I said in the first quarter, this is a bloodbath, a pretty one at that, because both teams scored 70, 80 points to finish, but it was just every bucket was going to be earned. Every time bringing the ball up the court, you had to really bring the ball up the court. Full pressure, full denial, and just dudes all over the place. Looking at Allen's side, Trent Payne, Caden Myers, they complement each other so well. Caden's just kind of that senior that kind of does everything, that poise, knows when to get his. And then Trent Payne is he's the kid on the court that just makes plays that nobody else can. He's all over the place. When Allen was going on some runs, Trent Payne was spearheading those runs, and super impressive out of that backcourt. DeAndre Thomas impressed me more than I thought he would, battling against DJ Hall in Plano East. Soft touch around the rim, runs like a gazelle for a post man. He's the perfect big for that Allen program. And then Eric Walls was just explosive, man. I know he shot a 3 in the corner right next to my camera, and I hear somebody yell as the ball goes in. Usually it's like the crowd or your bench. No, it was him yelling when the ball went in because he knew he was that dialed. He made huge plays, and he's a luxury to have with the Allen Ball Club. But going on to the other side, Plano East, you look at it, another game where you're like, Allen, seemed like they should have had a bigger lead and kind of were controlling the game, but Plano East just hung around, and we kind of know what their MO is, and it's just physical toughness, outwork you, out-hustle you, and just out-fight you, not compete you. And for them to get that win that they did, they showcased exactly that. DJ Hall, man, bad dude. 3 or 4 jumpers off the pull-up, quick trigger, just mid-range was cash. Finishes with both hands, pass as well. They have a system in place, and a lot of the stuff that they're doing, a lot of their offense of sets, DJ was making passes here and there. So super excited to see him on the court. The next kid, which is actually going to be my MVP, and I'm not even going to try this, Narit. I'm not even going to try to say your last name, man, but you were balling last night. Just the steadiness, the want to win, the playmaking, the shot making. Every time Plano East needed a bucket, he was hitting the big time shot. Nasty in the paint. He was that guy for Plano East that just does everything, which they all do. He was just the one that made the biggest plays. You can see the GASO game recap to see what I mean. But realistically, in this game, to be able to play the type of style both teams want, you need glue guys and you need depth. And 2 guys, Isaiah Brewington, Jordan Mizell, and then Xavier Miller. Those 3 guys for Plano East. It's why when they're around in fourth quarter of games, they're going to be so hard to beat, because everybody that gets in the game for Plano East is just a problem. Offensively, defensively, they play the right way. So yeah, after that game, driving home, I was even more tired, because I'm telling you, it was a bloodbath. 80-70, Plano East gets the win, pulling away a little bit late, but the game was closer than what the score showed. And I tweeted, you may get excited to play a Plano East or an Allen, but I promise you better come ready to play, because I wouldn't want to play them. That pressure is for real, and I expect both of these teams to have really, really big time seasons. So yeah, excited for my time to start the season at the Cowtown tip-off. It's where I've started the past 4 or 5 years. Saw some big time matchups and seen some big time stars get their start there. So I'm excited to get ready to go on the road. I'm going to San Antonio this week to cover some big time basketball, but the season's here, and looking across the state, we're in for a really, really exciting 2023-2024 season.